big asbestos gloves to load them. And I'm supposed to be picking up on the floor in the chambers the proper shell which the tank commander or gunner had asked for to shove into the cannon. Well, we were firing about 30 shells. There were 45 altogether, and it was getting very crowded. And they were bouncing all over the place, and I could not see where the shells were that I had to pick up. The empty shells were bouncing, I should say. So I took off the asbestos gloves, and sure enough, one of the shells bounced out of the cannon and sliced my wrist as it came out. It was white hot. So sliced my wrist and cut it. And blood spurted out. I grabbed something, probably a piece of clothing, I can't remember now, and wrapped it around. We were still fighting, so I had to load that cannon. No one else was in a position to do that. After after the fight was over with, I went down to a Red Cross truck. There was a big lineup of people standing behind the truck, each being attended to. When I got to my turn, they put some clamps on my wrist and bandaged it. And then the attendant gave me a little slip of paper. He said, "Fill this out." I said, "What is that for?" He said, "That is for a Purple Heart." I didn't think that I deserved one. And I said, "No, I'm not filling it out." And he said, "You're crazy. You have no idea what I give these out for." When I went back to my outfit, they agreed that I was crazy. We went up to the Harz Mountains. We liberated the concentration camp Nordhausen. We then went on to the Elbe River, where across the Elbe River we could see the Russian army. Our war was over. But in August, after the atomic bombs were dropped on Japan, the war ended on August 14th. And everyone was able to go home if you had enough points. The points were measured by the number of months that you were in the service, 1 point for each month, 1 point for each month that you were overseas, 5 points for each battle star, and 5 points for every medal that you received. Well, that Purple Heart would have come in very handy. I stayed for another 10 months in Europe. We went home on the George Washington, and we landed in Staten Island on July 4th, 1946. I was discharged on July 9th, 1946. I took the GI Bill to complete 2 years of high school in 1 and 4 years of college in 3, going all summers, and became a high school principal for 28 years, the last 23 at Great Neck South. When I was a teacher in the Bronx, I sat one day in my classroom with whomever wanted to have lunch with me. And a group of students were there, 3 of whom who had been in concentration camps. 2 of them knew where they had been. The 3rd one, who was extremely bright, he was in the SPs and had over 120 IQ, he said, I don't remember. I know it was near the city of Kassel. And I said, Gleb, we took Kassel. And then I said to him, was it Nordhausen? And he said, yes, it was Nordhausen. And I said, Gleb, we liberated Nordhausen. And he said to me, were you in the 4th Cavalry? Well, I don't have to tell you how shocked I was. He was probably 6 years old at the time. Of course, his father was a linguist and was used by our officers and used by the American military government. And sure enough, the very next day, he comes in with the names of my officers. And my wife and I had open house at Easter time. And he came in at Easter with a copy, a replica, a paperweight of the Chaffee tank. I didn't know anyone else knew about the Chaffee tank. There were only 200 of them made, and most of them were sent to the Pacific. He came in with that paperweight to give me during that open house. Wonderful memories. Most people who were in the service, however, had a phrase that they used. I would not take $1 million to go through what I went through, nor would I give a dime to go through it again.